Jackson Radio Show.
Seeing the chain of events that have happened because of Donald Trump, the good chain of events. For example, Kim Jong-un is now wanting to talk to South Korea. That dialogue has been opened up. He also just made his emergency trip, or I don't know how you would define it, but an unplanned trip to China. And we now know that he did indeed meet with China's president. And I don't know what that meeting was about, in terms of actual detail, because we don't have the leaks. That China doesn't have the leaks that we tend to have right now in the Trump administration. Ooh, almost said Obama administration. But I can tell you this: Kim Jong-un got his butt spanked over in China. He is at the mercy of the Chinese. But I want to talk about the chain of events. You know what's going on around the world? The governments are looking at austerity. Remember the two pretty boys? You had Emmanuel Macron in France, and you had, Trudeau in Canada. And you hear nothing about these pretty boys. Both of those guys, by the way, are implementing Trump doctrines. Pretty boy Trudeau is saying on immigration, no, I did not say this of immigration into Canada. You must not do these like these. And Macron is talking about, putting in austerity in France because they can't pay their bills. Italy is now looking at the United States and saying, you know what, we need to adopt the same types of policies. Greece, in terms of immigration, all these countries are going, hey, wait a minute, hold on a second with all these Muslim immigrants and this stuff that's going on around the world. There's somebody finally standing up saying, look, I don't care what you think. I can see the danger of radical Islam. I can see the dangers of socialism, and we're going to stem the tide. And that's what's happening. So all these things that these people are trying to do to, throw a monkey in the wrench and all this stuff about Donald Trump, forget it, man, please. It's cracking me up watching them as they pin their hopes on raising taxes in 2008 in the next Congress, it's still decrying capitalism as a bad thing. And then they bet on a porn star, which we'll talk about later. But this is the strategy. I want you to think for 1 second. Oh, by the way, sanctuary cities, and we can talk for ages about sanctuary cities, right? Because and sanctuary states, for goodness sake. California has all but ceded itself to Mexico. And I mentioned the census early on in the broadcast that, the asking a question of are you a citizen or not? If you're here, are you a citizen? Is now considered taboo. All the years that we've been doing the census, we've always asked the question, how many people are in the house? How many are citizens? Oh, we don't want to tell because, it's a terrible thing to be under the radar. If you are here illegally, you were under the radar no matter what. But these guys it's a bad thing. But Barack Obama in 2010 took away it was the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that required that question. And the reason for it is they did not want to negate the vote of black folks. It was part and parcel of the Jim Crow era, if you will, that they said, we're going to make sure that blacks get represented, so we're not going to water down the vote. Illegals water down the vote. California lost 2 representative legislators. They lost 2 congressmen. And the reason is very simple. They're chasing their good citizens out. Corporations leaving, citizens leaving because they're taxed to death. And it's going to continue to happen. So the only thing that they can do is to say, well, we need to have, everybody counted. Everybody counts here. No, you don't. So imagine what happens when California is 50% illegals, in the most populous state in the country, but only 50% of their people are represented. So they continue to lose representatives. What's going to happen to that state? I think you can kind of draw your own conclusions. And of course, what's President Trump doing? He's fighting with common sense. Again, folks, we're not talking about rocket science here. You don't put the lives of your citizens over the lives of other people. You don't do it. Doesn't mean, if somebody's here and there. Let me put it to you this way. If I'm walking the street and somebody's getting beat up or robbed or whatever, I don't go, "Are you a citizen?" I'll respond. But I'll tell you this, in knowing that, because that's human nature, but in knowing that someone is a citizen versus a non-citizen and the identical crime is being committed, I'm going to go help the citizen first. That's just what I would do. I'm going to help. No offense to, let's say, I'll do it another way. Let's say it's a German and an American, identical situation. I'm going to help the American first. I'm not going to help our visitor. I'm going to help my countrymen first. That's a bias. Call it whatever you want. If I were in Germany and an identical situation occurred, I'd expect the German to help the German first before they help me. Call me silly in that way. But that's how you make your, people will see me as a human being, but they go, "Look, if I can get to you, I will, but I'm going to help so-and-so." It's like I tell you guys all the time, if I got two kids, one's somebody else's and one's mine, and they're both drowning, sorry for your kid. Doesn't make me heartless. I'm saving my kid. I get it. "Oh, Kevin, wouldn't you feel bad not saving your?" Yeah, I'd feel worse if I didn't save my own. Don't talk to me about it. Anyway, here's some good news. Donald Trump, approval rating up 7 points since last month, and this is an AP poll. The bad news, they say, this only lifts Trump's approval to 42%, low for a president at this point in his tenure. Still, the trajectory, they say, is a welcome shift for the White House. Let me tell you, do we really got to go through this again? Disregard the polls. I don't care what they say about Trump. Now, look, I'm not happy that he had to sign omnibus. And my initial thought was, doggone it, Donald Trump, you should have vetoed it. But I understand what he's doing. I think they were trying to set him up. If he vetoed it, they'd say he's in violation of national security because we're not funding the military, and they would figure something else out. So he signed it, but he said, "This is the last one I'll sign." And I believe him. And I also know that Paul Ryan doesn't have the male genitalia to help the dude out and say, I'm not putting something in front of him that I'm going to force him not to sign or to sign and have to catch the wrath of the people. But this poll tells you what you need to know. The American citizens get it. We know the gamesmanship that's being played, including on our side of the aisle. Now, somebody was saying Ryan's going to step down. I don't believe it, but I'll talk about it a little bit later. I don't believe that. He should step down because he's a weak-kneed sissy, and we need warriors as Republicans these days. Speaker of the House should be a warrior, a fearless warrior who makes Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Adam Schiff shake at the mere sound of his voice or the mention of his name. He should be the Kaiser Soze of Congress. You don't mess with him. He should be the president's enforcer. Can you imagine if Paul Ryan acted as an enforcer and he just put down the letter of the law against these stupid Democrats, man? Where's that guy? That's who I want to meet.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.